Like I mentioned in the Crazy Eights video a couple weeks ago, even numbers of notes per string are easy to alternate pick through, which makes the minor pentatonic scale perfect for these kinds of applications. Hello children, and welcome to this week's installment of Weekend Wankshop here with your good pal, Uncle Ben. It's no secret that I'm a hardcore devotee to Troy Grady's incredible Cracking the Code lesson series here on YouTube. I really feel like that stuff is the undeniable truth about alternate picking, so as soon as I started watching those, it really struck home with me and I started trying to implement a lot of the things that I saw in the video that Troy was talking about. For pretty much as long as I've played guitar, I've been a downwards pick slanting kind of player. And I never really realized I was doing it, nor did I realize what it was enabling me to do and keeping me from doing. But whenever I watched Troy's videos and I started to understand what downwards pick slanting was all about, I was able to start constructing licks that really exploited the advantages of this picking system. One of the biggest advantages of this picking system is whenever you put an even number of notes on every string, that means that if you start with a downstroke, you will end on an upstroke. So the last note on that string will be an upstroke, which means it'll be easy to change to the next string in the lick. So as long as you understand that and you understand the basic principles of pick slanting, that means that pretty much any lick that you can write where you have an even number of notes on the string will be pretty easy to pick. Most of the patterns that we use for the minor pentatonic scale on the guitar feature 2 notes per string, which makes it perfect for this style of picking. This is a cool B minor pentatonic lick that I made up for you guys to show you how you can take advantage of the whole even numbers of notes per string thing, as well as start thinking about rooting scale patterns out on strings other than your low E string. But before we get into it, let's hear it again at stepdad speed. And as always, you can find a full tab for this week's lick on my Instagram page. So head over to BenEllerGuitars on Instagram, find the tab for this week's lick, learn how to play it, and upload a video of yourself wanking through it along with the hashtag Weekend Wankshop. Okay, so this lick is an all alternate picked thing. So all the picking on this is going to go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up the entire time, all the way through. And it's based on the B minor pentatonic scale. Now the first chunk of it takes place in the good old traditional sort of 7th fret box position. It's going to go like this. On the low E string, I'm going to play 7 and 10, that's B and D. On the 7th fret A string, I'm going to play 7 and 9, that's E and F sharp. On the D string, I'm going to play 7 and 9, which is A and B. And on the G string, I'm going to play 7 and 9, which is the notes D and E. So far we just had this. Now, a really important thing to understand about scale patterns on the guitar is that you can start them from any string. It's not just the low E string. So the next portion of the lick I see as being the B minor pentatonic scale, again, just like what you just played, only with its root note on the D string. So you know how this was B? Well, its octave is also B. So the 9th fret here on the D string, that's also the root note of the scale. It's easy to lose track of that fact when you're just thinking about this huge minor pentatonic pattern. You usually just kind of think of this as being the root note. But in reality, any B through that whole thing, so here, here, and here, those are all the root notes of the scale. So the next part of the lick takes place in a B minor pentatonic scale starting from this B, the 9th fret D. So all I'm playing here is on the D string here I play 9 and 12. On the G string I play 9 and 11. On the B string I play 10 and 12. And on the high E I play 10 and 12. This is literally the same thing as what you began with. It's just the next octave up. So after you play that 12th fret on the high E string, we're going to start descending down the scale pattern. Now basically you're going to shift up a position here, so we're on the 14th fret on the high E string. You're going to play 14 and 12. And then on the B string, 15, 12. There's a B note right there. That's the root note, the same as that was, the same as that was. Again, any B is the root note of the scale. It doesn't matter what string it's on. So on the high E, that was 14, 12. B was 15, 12. On the G, we're going to play 14, 11. On the D, we're going to play 14, 12. And lastly, end on the 14th fret A string, which again is another B note. The root note, the same as that was, the same as that was, the same as that was. We find it right there too. Any B is the root note, doesn't matter where it's at. So altogether, starting from the low octave here, I'll just kind of name off the fret numbers as we go. Starting from the low E, we played 7-10, 7-9, 7-9, 7-9. Then we shift to the D string here. We're going to play 9-12, 9-11, 10-12, 10-12. Then we're going to shift up here and we're going to start descending down on the high E. That's 14-12, 15-12, 14-11, 14-12, 14. Perfect for use against a B or a B minor or any kind of blues in B kind of thing. So once more all together here. And again, all alternate pick, down, up, down, up, down, up. Just like that. I'm going to really exaggerate the picking over here so you can see what I'm talking about this downward pick slanting kind of idea. Whenever I'm doing this type of picking, it means that my downstroke kind of goes into the strings and my upstroke pulls away from the body of the guitar. Again, I'm really exaggerating here, but the point is that the upstroke features the tip of the pick being outside of the strings. That's what makes changing strings while alternate picking across the strings handy and easy to do whenever I'm playing with this sort of downwards pick slant, playing with a pick slanted like that right there. Okay, again, watch. I'm going to really exaggerate these motions so you can see what I'm talking about. Every string change happens after an upstroke, which is when I'm outside of the strings, like this right here. Again, that's very exaggerated. But the thing is if you pick like a standard guitar player where the tip of the pick isn't really flipping out like this, it's kind of staying inside of the strings at all time. Again, if your strokes are very literally downstrokes and upstrokes and not in-strokes and out-strokes, that's the best way I think to think of it, is think of in-strokes and out-strokes. But if you're playing with just straight ups and downs, well then the tip of the pick is always kind of stuck in between the strings, and to get to the next string you kind of have to hop over it like this. See this kind of reverse door knocker motion I'm making right here? This is what happens if the tip of the pick doesn't leave the playing area of the strings on every upstroke, like that. So yeah, try playing the lick with the pick slanted like this, making sure that your downstroke goes into the strings and your upstroke goes out of the strings like that. And that'll make it a whole lot easier to get from string to string as you play through this right here. So there you go, guys, another sick lick for the good old wank bank there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at BenEllerGuitars. And also, if you're interested in booking some one-on-one Skype lessons with me, be sure to drop me an email, BenEllerGuitars@gmail.com. Talk about rates and times and all that other good stuff. Stay tuned for another cool lick next week. Cheers, guys.